Before Geralt of Rivia was a household name, and The Witcher 3 a genre-defying juggernaut, there was this. A rough-edged, deeply ambitious debut released on PC in 2007.
Now don't get offended, but has killing people become a pleasure for you?
Built by a then unknown CD Projekt Red, a small Warsaw studio adapting Andrzej Sapkowski's acclaimed novels, and directed by Jacek Brzezinski, the game stepped into a Western RPG scene dominated at the time by BioWare and Bethesda. Working with a heavily modified version of BioWare's Aurora engine, the team aimed high, a mature, choices matter RPG where preparation and morality carry as much weight as swordplay. Culturally, The Witcher arrived with a strong literary pedigree. The books were already cult hits in Europe, and would later reach mainstream awareness with the Netflix adaptation, received more ambivalently than the novels. But, in games, the first entry is where the saga's identity crystallize, a grim realism over shiny heroics, alchemy and science over loot treadmills, and tough lesser evil decisions instead of easy binaries.
Help us or we'll feed you your balls. I did what I had to do.
It didn't conquer the world overnight, yet it founded the trilogy that would mature in The Witcher 2 and culminate years later in The Witcher 3, one of the most celebrated RPGs of all time. If there's one word to describe The Witcher's gameplay, it's discipline. This isn't the kind of RPG where you can charge blindly into fights, mash buttons, and expect to survive. Instead, the game demands patience, preparation, and knowledge. At first, Geralt's movements feel awkward, sluggish, even slippery, as if he's skating across the terrain. Combat too is divisive. Built on timed combos, it asks players to click in rhythm rather than spam attacks. 3 distinct stances, strong, fast, and group, offer variety, but the system never feels truly fluid. Still, once mastered, the rhythm of chaining blows, swapping stances, and mixing in signs creates a style of combat unlike other RPGs of the era. Preparation is where the design shines. The game constantly reminds you that a Witcher is not a typical hero. He's a professional monster slayer.
Shit! What is that?
A frightener. One mean beast.
Every contract notice posted in a tavern leads to a dangerous hunt. But, to succeed, you'll need to research the creature first. That means reading books, questioning locals, and gathering knowledge about weaknesses before sharpening your silver sword. Fail to prepare, and even a routine encounter can end in disaster. The alchemy system elevates this further. Brewing potions like Swallow for regeneration, Tawny Hall for stamina, or Thunderbolt for strength require specific herbs, monster parts, and alcoholic bases. Recipes aren't handed out. You learn them through quests, purchases, or careful exploration. And, because potions come with toxicity levels, the game forces you to think carefully about what to drink and when. Then, there are the signs. Simple but flexible Witcher magic. Hard blasts enemy back. Igni engulfs them in fire. Quen creates a protective shield. Yrden lays magical traps, and Axii influences might. None of them are overpowered alone, but when paired with swords and potions, they dramatically shape encounters. Whether you specialize in one or dabble in all, mastering them is crucial. Progression deepens the RPG feel. Instead of a flat skill tree, you spend bronze, silver, and gold talents, each tied to increasingly advanced abilities. Do you invest in raw strength, faster strikes, or monster-specific talents? Do you refine alchemy for stronger oils and bombs, or pour points into magic? This tiered system forces meaningful trade-offs, rather than letting you max out everything. Even outside combat, The Witcher builds atmosphere through detail. Minigames, like dice poker and fist fighting, add light distractions and a chance to earn coin, while crafting and loot encourage careful exploration. And, because equipment matters, especially the dual sword system for steel for humans and silver for monsters, you're constantly waiting upgrades, oils, and temporary enhancements. The result is a gameplay loop that rewards the thoughtful and punishes the reckless, and immerses you in daily grind of being a Witcher. It isn't always elegant, controls are stiff, animations are clumsy, but beneath the rough edges lies a deeply strategic RPG that still feels unique today.
Wait for the rest. He's a lord. The professor promised 50 orens for every freak we kill.
He's mine!
If the gameplay demands discipline, the narrative demands attention. The Witcher inherits an enormous literary legacy from Andrzej Sapkowski's novels, and CD Projekt Red faced the daunting task of making it approachable for players new to the world. Their solution was an old trope, amnesia, but here it works brilliantly. Geralt awakens without memory, allowing both him and the player to rediscover his past, his values, and his place in a morally fractured world.
I feel a bond when we speak. I know you were important.
Geralt, we go.
The main thread follows Geralt's pursuit of Salamandra, a shadowy criminal group. But the brilliance of The Witcher storytelling lies not only in its overarching mystery, but also in its self-contained chapter arcs.
I know you had a hand in the bank robbery. By some coincidence, the Scoia'tael have carried better arms ever since.
Each act places Geralt at the center of a dilemma. The witch Abigail, accused of consorting with demons, the tragic romance of Vincent the Werewolf and Carmen, or the political gamesmanship between the Order of the Flaming Rose and the Scoia'tael rebels. None of these stories offer simple good or evil answers. Instead, you're constantly confronted with the lesser evil, the defining theme of the saga.
Maybe I'll let you be. You have two options. Wait until I leave and then murder Abigail, but then I'll come back. I'll slay every lice-ridden peasant, anything that moves and can't climb a tree.
This moral ambiguity sets the tone. In Sapkowski's world, humans can be just as monstrous as the beasts Geralt hunts. Corrupt guards, bigoted villagers, opportunistic sorcerers. Everyone has layers, and rarely is anyone entirely innocent.
I didn't mean to!
Lawyer, you were jealous of her! Die, murderer!
Even the supernatural foes are given context. Vampires, werewolves, and cursed barons are as much victims of circumstance as they are villains. The dialogue system is uneven, a product of a tight budget and editing that sometimes left conversations disjointed. Yet, when it works well.
You shall only be safe in the glow of the eternal fire.
All right, but it will cost you 100 orens.
Humor seeps through Geralt's dry wit, while moments of tragedy hit hard. Importantly, choices matter. Decisions echo across chapters and even ripple into sequels, giving weight to every moral compromise.
Expect to see me, Grandmaster. Soon.
Perhaps the strongest narrative device is the journal. Every monster you research, every character you meet, every herb you collect, expands the in-game codex, transforming lore into something living and useful. Reading about a creature isn't just flavor text, it tells you how to fight it, where to find it, and why it matters in the world. The identity quest exemplifies the game's maturity. Geralt learns about himself not through exposition, but through actions, choices, and reflections of others. It's an elegant way of binding a character development to gameplay.
Don't get killed, Geralt. I don't think I could deal with that again. I'll see you soon.
All of this unfolds against the backdrop of a brewing war between humans and non-humans. The Scoia'tael insurgency and racial tensions create an ever-present sense of unrest, making clear that Geralt's struggles are not isolated stories, they're part of a world unraveling at the seams.
Damn it, Geralt, look!
The result is a narrative that feels dense, layered, and deeply human. It might lack the cinematic polish of later entries, but in ambition and complexity, The Witcher already proves itself as one of the more mature RPG stories of its time. If the story draws you in, the visuals often push and pull in opposite directions. The Witcher was built on a heavily modified version of BioWare's Aurora engine, already showing its age in 2007. As a result, the game delivers moments of striking atmosphere, but also moments where it looks rough and even dated.
A wealthy town merchant, while she wanders about with her nose in the clouds.
Character models are perhaps the weakest link. Faces are stiff and lifeless, their expressions rarely matching the weight of the dialogue.
Sit down and have a drink. Alina is dead. She has turned into a noon wraith, a demon.
Dead?
Animations are equally problematic. Sword scenes look jerky, lip sync feels off, and cutscenes often betray the budget constraints of a small studio punching above its weight.
Geralt? By the eternal fire, it's good to see you.
Even at release, critics pointed out that characters moved more like
Geralt of
mannequins
Rivia,
than living people.
Witcher.
Lucky to have two witches visit us. Ha ha! I, Tobias Hoffman, am the village chief.
But step back from the characters, and the world itself tells a different story. The environments are often beautiful, fields bathed in golden light, rivers reflecting the moon, and fog-covered villages that feel both lived in and dangerous. The lighting work creates an atmosphere that lingers, particularly in outdoor settings where sunsets and storms add texture to Geralt's journey. The art direction deserves praise. Rather than chasing generic medieval cliches, CD Projekt Red infused the world with grit and personality. Villages feel muddy and desperate rather than picturesque. Castles loom with a sense of real weight, and monster designs are varied and memorable. Each beast feels drawn from folklore rather than fantasy templates, reinforcing that sense that it is a dark, lived-in world. One standout artistic choice comes from the loading screens, presented as hand-painted illustrations of key locations. These images capture the tone of the game far better than the 3D models could, and even today, they remain one of the most charming aspects of the presentation. So, while the technical graphics leave much to be desired, the environment and art direction elevate the experience, showing where the studio's creative strengths already shone through.
Only 2 stages after
The Witcher may not impress by modern standards, but it carved out a unique visual identity that carried forward into its sequels. where the visuals stumble, the soundscape often redeems the game. The soundtrack, composed by Paweł Tazak and Adam Skorupa, leans heavily into Slavic folk influences mixed with dark, moody orchestration. It isn't bombastic like Elder Scrolls or Dragon Age. Instead, it's melancholic, atmospheric, and restrained, perfectly reflecting the bleak tone of the world. Tracks shift from somber strings in quiet villages to tense rhythms during monster hunts, always reinforcing the idea that beauty in this universe is fragile, often tingled with sorrow. The sound effects also do their part. Swords ring with a sharp metallic bite, monsters roar and screech with unsettling realism, and the ambient soundscape, howling winds, distant chatter in taverns, or the creak of wooden floors helps immerse the player in a world that feels lived in.
I want to ask about the princess.
No politics.
About the curse.
Voice acting, however, is a mixed bag. The Cockle's Geralt delivers the gravely understated performance that would define the character for decades.
Admirable. If you've come from Vizima, then you led White Rayla here.
His dry wit and detached tone perfectly capture Geralt's weary pragmatism. Some supporting characters, like Zoltan or Vazimir, are brought to life with warmth and personality.
True to a witcher. Died, came back to life. Nobody's seen him for 5 years, and he wants to know if something's wrong.
But others fell flat. Triss Marigold, for example, suffers from a monotone delivery that undermines the script.
Triss.
Since when do I need your permission to cause trouble? Or you mine for that matter?
Triss.
Another time. They're coming. Go. I detest tearful goodbyes.
The uneven quality likely reflects the game's modest budget and a recording process that felt patched together.
A scientist could learn much about gnome technology from it.
The writing behind the lines mirrors this inconsistency. Some conversations crackle with sharp humor or genuine pathos, while others feel stilted or strangely edited, as if multiple drafts collided.
Have you turned stupid, soldier? Either leave on your feet or die on your back.
Yet, when everything clicks, Geralt's weary one-liners, anonymous villain speech, or a heartfelt confession, the effect is powerful.
Open your eyes, Yavin. Your beloved war killed her. Stop drowning the world in blood. Try building for a change.
In the end, The Witcher's sound design is one of the strongest pillars. The music lingers long after the credits, the effects ground the combat and environments, and, despite uneven performances, the voice acting establishes Geralt as one of gaming's most distinctive protagonists. The Witcher is a game of contrasts. On one hand, it is clunky, unpolished, and clearly the work of a young studio wrestling with limited technology. On the other, it is ambitious, mature, and deeply committed to bring Andrzej Sapkowski's dark fantasy world to life in a way no other RPG had attempted. Its flaws are obvious: stiff animations, awkward movement, inconsistent voice acting, and visuals that were dated even for 2007.
I greet you.
Greetings, sir.
Yet, its strengths shine brighter. A complex alchemy and crafting system, morally ambiguous storytelling, layered world building, and a soundtrack that perfectly captures the melancholy of its universe.
You'll die knowing you're an aberration.
You're so full of shit, Professor.
These elements make it clear that CD Projekt Red was aiming not to imitate BioWare or Bethesda, but to forge their own identity. And they did it. Commercially, the game was a modest success, selling over 1 million copies in its first years and winning several awards for storytelling and design. More importantly, it established CD Projekt Red as a rising force in the RPG genre. Without this flawed but passionate debut, there would be no Witcher 2, a sharper, more cinematic sequel, or, especially, The Witcher 3, which would go on to become one of the most celebrated games of all time. Today, with the full remake announced and The Witcher 4 in development, returning to this first chapter feels like opening the yellowed pages of an old beloved book. It isn't perfect, but it doesn't need to be. It laid the foundation for greatness and proved that even a small studio could dream big, take risks, and carve its own place in history. And you? Do you think this game needs a remake? Are you excited for The Witcher 4? Tell us everything in the comments. And, as always, thank you for your time.